John Howard was Prime Minister at the time. His reaction to the crisis is seen by many as one of his finest moments as Prime Minister. And he spoke to ABC News about the devastating impact that terrorist attack had on all Australians.
This was a major tragedy and a terrible attack, and of course it's something that rocked our country to its very core.
What was your personal reaction to it?
Well, one of horror that this should happen in a place that people saw almost as part of Australia, to people who were doing the most natural thing in the world, having a good time. But I thought immediately then, what have we got to do? Because in my situation, the immediate concern was to helping the people who were injured, and the great thing that immediately swung into action was an enormous cooperative effort.
In a way, was it almost as though this attack had happened on Australian soil, given that Bali was so popular with Australian tourists?
It was very much like an attack on our home soil, very much. Bali was close, inexpensive, accessible, popular. This was the end of the football season. You remember the names of all of those football clubs? Coogee Dolphins, Kingsley, Sturt, so the names will forever be associated with the Bali attack. And I felt that a lot of Australians saw it as if it had been an attack on Australia.
How did the attacks change Australia's relationship with Indonesia? And was there the chance that perhaps it could have driven a wedge between the two countries?
Oh, it could easily have done that, and I have no doubt that if the thought had crossed the minds of the murderers, they would have wanted to push us further apart, but it had the opposite effect. It brought us closer together, and it brought me and others into contact with Bang Yudhoyono, who would then in time become the president and who is very pro-Australian. One of the positive things, if you can look for positives out of such a terrible tragedy, was that Australia and Indonesia learnt the value of cooperating to fight terrorism.
But you maintain the view today that Australia's involvement in the so-called war on terrorism has not made the country more vulnerable to terrorism.
I don't believe it has. No, I don't hold that view. I hold the view that the reason why we're a terrorist target is that we're a free, open, liberal Western democracy. The view that had been put to us by the intelligence was that we would have been a target anyway, or could have been a target anyway, irrespective of positions we took on Afghanistan and Iraq. But if the people who planned this atrocity imagined for a moment that it was going to drive Indonesia and Australia apart, they failed completely, because Indonesia and Australia have come together as a result, and the cooperation is much greater than it was before October of 2002.